And we're recording, so you're good to go.
Okay. We call the meeting to order and ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One more time. Welcome, everyone, and both those present and those virtually. And I'm sorry about Facebook. For some reason, we can't connect our Zoom to Facebook. So hopefully people on Facebook have gotten the message that we're here. First of all, we're minus two of our board members, one of whom had, Sheila is on her way. She just texted me. She had a ski New York, the Central New York patrol meeting tonight at 5:30 and knew she would be running a little bit late. And we're somewhat concerned because we don't know where Carl is. So I called his house, but got no answer. So in any event, we still have a quorum, so we can still do business. And the first thing I would like to do, well, I don't know whether to do celebrations or sad events first, but I think overall, I'd like to do a moment of silence for a variety of reasons tonight. One, for Veronica Hoteling and her family, whose daughter was married this past weekend. It was beautiful. She's a beautiful girl.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Really
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Secondly, I just think we should give thanks for the fact that in August of this year, we had 3 really successful community events. The Empire Farm Days, the Tractor Pull, and the Community Day in Delphi Falls. All 3 very different, all 3 well attended, all 3 safely, successfully run, and kudos to those that were in charge of the planning for those events. And then thirdly, we have 2 deaths to acknowledge in the town this past month. One is Jane Slocum, who passed away on August 18th of this year and was a lifelong member of this Fabius Pompey community, as was her whole family. And she will be very missed. And secondly, can you hear me, Stan? And secondly, we lost Lou Alley Sunday. Who spent 40 years of his life serving this town so well, and was a personal friend of so many of us. He was the epitome of a gentleman, and gave of himself to everyone, no matter who you were. And his wife, Vaughn, and their whole family are in our prayers, and know he will be sorely missed by everyone. I don't think there was a sporting event that his grandchildren played in, not grandsons, because he had granddaughters too, that he did not attend with Vaughn. And his work here and the length of time he committed to service in this town is so commendable. So if we could have a moment of silence for all of those reasons, please. Thank you. So Tom Chartrand needs to be in another jurisdiction. If we put him first so that we could get his business out of the way and he can scoot out. So Tom, you have the floor.
All right, well, that's a tough one to follow.
I know, I'm so sorry. And you have a long history, your family does, with Judge Alley.
I don't remember my life when I didn't know Judge Alley.
You're gonna make me.
So on the monthly report, receipts and disbursements, we were very busy on receipts this month. Another good month for town clerk fees. Our clerk's fees budget line is actually exceeded by about $700 already this year, so that's good news. Out there collecting those fees.
I'm busy.
NBT and non-class interest has not changed since last month, so they're both virtually the same. So I don't like going on. Very quiet for court fees again this month. And we're down year to date on that line as well. We got another little bit of the American Rescue Plan funding, $1,517. So that shows up in the budget. One more small swim registration. Towns of Fabius and Lafayette both sent us their coverage for their students that we enlisted in our plan, so we're good to go there. We did receive a site plan development fee deposit from Pivot Energy, and our LED lighting grant came in $6,750. So that means
Great.
all the lights are in, I guess. So
Yeah.
they look pretty bright white to me when I drive around.
Great. Nobody said anything, so I have a feeling we spread them, they're so spread out here. I know Fabius had an issue,
Yeah.
but can I just mention that the Moreland donation?
Mhm.
That's because they had a celebration for Gail Moreland at the Pompey Historical
Oh.
Society for her passing during COVID.
Oh,
And their family donated half the cost of having the sheriffs here to do, get people across the street safely. So I just want to thank them. That was very generous.
Very nice.
And then highway fund, just a small fuel reimbursement. And the rest of the way down through, pretty quiet, normal stuff going on there. Nothing really out of the ordinary to report the rest of the way down through. Bank reconciliation was floating around.
Still floating.
Looks like it's got the chair, so you guys
Everything
can
has
probably
three.
approve it if you want to.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion. We approve the supervisor's monthly report and bank reconciliation.
seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
You want to hold off on the vouchers until after Sheila's?
Well, I
Or you
talked to her
wanna
about that
approve it
because she knew you were going to be heading out before she got here. And I think I said if there was anything that was out of the ordinary, I could share that with her, but I don't see anything in there that
No,
I
they're
thought
pretty
was,
normal stuff.
yeah. So if you want to take them.
I'll make a motion.
Well, I
We
leave them,
approve.
I'm gonna come back. and
Oh, then
I'll
she
leave
can
them,
look at
so,
them.
okay, what, if you want to go ahead and make the motion and you can
I'll make that
rescind it
motion.
if there's a problem.
And I
Second.
second.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
We don't have Carl to compete with. so-
I know.
It's a little- Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, the current spending, general fund is at about 58% without the SOTs in it, so we're right about where we should be at the end of August. Maybe a little low. Revenues are at 98%. Highway fund spending is at 47%, which is low year to date, so that's good news. And their revenues are at 93%. And theirs won't go up until we get our CHIPS funding back in. So that's the only thing we're waiting on there. And the rest of the funds are pretty minor stuff. I did prepare a transfer sheet for you. The first one is one that you're going to pass a resolution on later. So I don't know if you want to make this motion now. The second one is, we talked about when we got the funding back from National Grid, that we would move the money back into contingent, that we moved over to fund the lighting project. So
Well, I think,
we're gonna have to do this either way, so yeah,
can
we can
we,
move.
can
it.
we hold, can we move one of these transfers or do you want us to hold both?
You can hold both of them and make them just part
Let's
of
make
that.
sure
Just
we don't
remember to
forget.
make them both as part of the, after you do the resolution later.
Okay,
So,
all right. Then we
and
can start.
I think that was everything I had for you at this point.
So next on the agenda is an update on the Chrysler property in the Hamlet. So, Don, you want to give us a report?
Sure, Don Chrysler, on the house on Cherry Street. The garage that had fallen down, I've got that almost 2/3 of the way done, all the walls removed and everything. The house, I expected to have that end up, which I just got the telehandler yesterday, and that was where I was able to get the garage taken down the rest of the way. And then this afternoon, I moved to the windows and everything is closed up, and I put new windows in, glass anyway and stuff, and re-glazed them as to, on the house, so that's totally sealed and no animal can get in there or no kids could climb into it right now. And my expectation is tonight to finish taking the walls down in the garage, and then tomorrow to move on to the house to take down that rear section that has been an issue right along, but you know, the rest of the house. I got a hold of Paul Hamlet, who is well, he works with New York State as an engineer, and then he's also retired. And then he was like, Don, I thought he was gonna come up and write it up. And then he's like, well, if you really want me to write, I'm retired now. I don't know if I should or shouldn't. I'm like, well, he goes, I can come up and verbally tell you anything you want to know about the house and stuff on the structure. But he said it really, so then I tried getting a hold of Carl Stearns, because Carl has been up before, and that's just the area, his field that he does all. I know he travels around the state looking at these older homes and you know, and that was, he came up 4 or 5 years ago and went through the house, and that's what he told the board members, that if Don doesn't get a roof on there, the house will be worthless in another 1.5 or 2 years. He's like, then the water going in there is creating damage and it needs to be stopped. So that was when we did get the roof on the house and stuff. And then the front porch, and got a guy that's going to come in, put piers and everything in there and redo that front porch anyway to get that base set. So that's also taken care of. That's where I am today. And this whole week, I got the telehandler, I got the forklift, I got a backhoe coming in, or it's a trax excavator, and to do the other work there that needs to be dug out and stuff. So that's where I am today, and I'm going to continue right on that for this week to get that totally done and not do anything but work on that. So I do expect that.
So I know you've been talking to Tim, our codes officer, so you will work with him probably. He can,
Oh, yeah.
make sure we just double check everything, and
Mhm.
because we have a Tim codes officer, but we also have a Tim attorney for the town. And my understanding is, regardless of how the building looks, the structures look, if they're safe, that you're good.
Mhm.
If you remediate, if you repair,
Right.
and they're safe and determined by the codes officer, then they stay.
Mhm.
It's only if they're not safe that we would need to proceed with possible demolition, which I know you don't want to do. I think some of the people in the Hamlet, as you probably are well aware, are concerned because they don't like how it looks,
Right.
but that's not what the town has any
But I
involvement.
also want it to look better.
I know you
That's
do.
the thing, when we get that porch set, and I got 45 gallons of white paint that I purchased for it, so
Okay,
get it scraped down and
Maybe-
go, and hopefully.
maybe we could work on that, the garage for the old firehouse. We could start thinking about how that could be improved. And I know you talked to me about it not being Hamlet commercial, but wanting it to be Hamlet commercial.
No,
I thought you-
in my purchase agreement with it, it had to be, and we went with the town for months to get that all approved. That should be all set, because.
Oh, okay.
That
So it
was,
already is Hamlet commercial?
yes,
Okay.
in order for, well, that was it for me. I was going in lawn and garden service and in sales of lawn equipment and stuff. And in order, that was the agreement with the purchase offer on the property, that the town had to approve that. And so we were at
Okay,
meetings
Okay.
after meetings, and
then we will
Scott
double.
Shatterfield was the attorney at the time,
Yeah,
and the board approved it in the end.
okay. So we will double check on that to make sure that's in place. Just, that's just as an aside, because it's not what's on the table here. It's the the old firehouse,
Mhm.
but it's part of the whole
Oh, yeah.
corner there, so.
Right.
But I think that, so what do you want the next steps to be? I'm curious where you're at with this.
I want to have the house respectively looking well, and plus, you know, I want, right now, where can we go? I can't internally do anything. Outside structures, stuff like that, safety item, that all taken care of and stuff. I am reaching out for some grants. I have, but, and I don't know what's gonna happen with what, you know, our country is approving and stuff, because there could be monies that do come into townships or states and stuff like that. That there's, I want to say Virginia, and for some reason with New York State Historical Society also, I had contacted her. And because the house actually has never been registered historically, and there's no reason why it can't be, and I got paperwork coming to fill out to get it registered historically also.
Okay, Tim, do you want to
So
weigh in?
all of that notwithstanding, grants, none of that means anything in terms of the town board, because the town board has an unsafe structure that whether you get grants to do something with it in the future is immaterial. At the last meeting, you said you were going to take the garage down. It sounds like you're in the process of that.
It's down.
It's done.
It's based, yeah.
Okay, so that's great progress. Good job. The other issue was getting a report from an engineer saying that the house is structurally sound. Where are you with that process? I know you mentioned that you talked to an
I
engineer,
did.
but we don't have that document
Right,
tonight.
I did not get it. And then Carl, I tried getting hold of him, and I haven't got a hold of him.
So right now, as things stand, we have a house that is considered unsafe by the town of Pompey through its code enforcement officer. And the question that the town board has is, do you want to proceed with having that house taken down? Or do you want to give a little more time to the property owner to either secure the house or take it down?
Well, I'm looking at the report that the codes officer did. And the conditions that were listed there. One was the garage is totally collapsed. So that's been, Tim can go there, you know, and you can confirm that to the codes officer's satisfaction. The roof on the back part of the main house is caved in, or the floor is something's compromised back there, so it's off kilter.
It's right, no, yeah.
So that's another.
That was like an additional woodshed, whatever, and there was no floor, it's all dirt, and
All right, so is that taken down yet?
no, that's
That's gonna be next.
that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
It'll be off of there tomorrow.
And then this says the foundation to the main house is cracked and crumbling, but are you saying it's the porch foundation that's?
Well, the porch foundation is, you know, that needs to be redone. And then there's like the second porch that sits back. I don't know if they're thinking that that's a foundation to the house that, you know, has deteriorated with water, but it's actually a porch and not the inner wall, which sets back another 6 feet or so. That's the main structure that the house sits on. That's.
So those
That's all
items,
fine.
the foundational items are what you need the engineer for.
Mhm.
So the items 3 and 4 on here, I would say still need to be addressed, which is the foundation on the house and the porch. To determine if the structures can hold up the house.
Mhm.
And then the next one is the basement windows are open or missing completely and allowing access for minors, trespassers, or rodents. So that you say you've boarded them.
That is
Taken care of.
completely done.
Okay, so this is progress. The ceiling, and then the last one was the ceiling on the second floor of the main, oh no, that's not totally the last one. But the ceiling on the second floor of the main house is falling in. Is there some peeling away of the ceiling up there?
The house had a metal ceiling in it,
Okay,
and when we had the leak of the roof was,
Mhm.
it had a hole right in it. It was exposed, the weather was running in there, and all that water ran in, and the lath and everything, it caused it to drop down,
Yeah.
and I've taken out the most of it, but there's some more to go.
so I would say, and you don't have this in front of you, but I would say items 3, 4, and 7 of the codes officer, or 6 of the codes officer report are the things that the engineer needs to address.
Mhm.
So if the board is so inclined to give you, do you want to get the engineer to address those items so we know for certain what the situation is?
Yeah, and I'm sure Carl would come back
Okay.
and do that, you know.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Could I get a copy of that?
Of this?
Yeah.
You.
But Donnie, you'll be
Yeah,
working with it right along. I mean,
Okay,
we're
I
not,
see it.
you didn't start till today,
I'm staying,
doing-
yeah. Right on.
right at the last minute to.
Keeping it moving.
So at any point, and it sounds like some progress has been made, great. But at any point, the board can say, you've had enough time. It's got to be taken down, and they'll do that through the code enforcement officer. So he's going to be on top of where we are and making sure that what you said you were going to do tonight gets done tomorrow and the next day. And then we would need an engineering report by the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
By the next meeting.
Mhm.
Beginning of October. And if you are having difficulties with finding one, let Tim know because he could help you find an engineer.
Mhm.
Right, Tim?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So don't sit on this. I was reading over last month's meeting minutes and realized that you basically acknowledged that there hasn't been anything done on it since the last time you were here 5 years ago. And I think that's partly the problem is if you let things go, they just get worse and worse and worse.
Mhm.
So you do not need to stay
Okay.
if you don't want to. Because
I would like to hear the rest of the meeting, but I got.
you can do it on,
You got work.
it's recorded.
He has got work to do.
Yeah, it's recorded. Next,
Pushing me.
we'll see you in
Danny.
October. Okay. We are on to the clerk's report.
Yes, if the board has had the chance to review both of the meeting minute drafts, I'm looking for a motion to accept the July 26th special meeting and the August 3rd regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we accept both of those.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I just want you to know, I sent you an email.
Yes,
It's-
I saw,
it's
I was
like-
eating dinner and I'm
I
like,
know, and it
I'm
was-
like, I got it.
This was the best I could do this month to get to that, so.
It's totally fine. I saw it.
It's just
Just a couple little
Yeah,
things.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Yeah, so we'll fix that.
Okay.
And for the start of school taxes, so starting tomorrow, September 2nd, we start collecting JD and FM school taxes. Our hours are going to be 8:30 to 4. We will remain open from noon to 1, which is our typical lunch break. We'll be staffed for that. As we continue to navigate through the COVID pandemic and the ongoing changes, we're still encouraging residents to mail in their tax payments. If they mail in the tax payments, receipts will be mailed the same day that the payments are received. There's also a drop box here at the town hall, right by, when you come to the town hall, right in the front, there's a red drop box right on the left that says tax collection. If you put your tax payment in there, we'll process it the same day, mail you your receipt the same day, just to keep everyone safe because things just constantly keep changing. If anyone chooses to make their payment in person, you're more than welcome to. We just ask that you follow the current COVID procedures. You know, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're not fully vaccinated, we want you to wear a mask in the building.
And who knows what will change with COVID.
Honestly, Debbie and I were talking about it. We're both fully vaccinated and I will be wearing my mask the next 4 weeks because our plexiglass broke in our window. And because of the way things are, you can't even order anything right now. So it's protection.
I
But
agree.
But if you want to come in, and especially we have people who pay with cash, obviously, we're not going to turn anyone away, but it's crazy times.
Yeah, it is. I almost thought we maybe should have imposed a mask
I know.
condition on tonight's meeting, but
You know, Debbie recommended that. We were, I
Oh,
picked her
great.
brain before we came. I'm like, what do you think? And she goes, honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to anyone coming in wearing a mask, but I feel like it's hard for me to say that, but I know I will be wearing a mask the next 4 weeks of
okay,
craziness.
okay.
But that's up to you. You,
Well, we'll see how things
talked
go.
about,
I mean, the CDC is recommending masks if you're indoors, but the county hasn't really taken that step, right, Tim? I don't think they done that,
They've done it for county buildings. I don't think they've made that.
like across the county, yeah. So, so far, you know, who wants to tempt fate? Because we have been very lucky
Yeah.
in this town, these town facilities to not have had.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna say it. So, but we'll play that by ear.
Okay.
That might change, so check the website.
Okay.
And the only thing I want to say is thank you so much, Ann and you and Mary Beth Cazares,
Yeah.
for sitting down. She's our new zoning board and planning board secretary, and taking that, our processes for our planning and zoning board, and really revamping them to fit what our needs are at this point. So thanks a lot for doing that.
Oh, you're
That's
welcome.
not something that'll get noticed because it's an internal thing, but I appreciate it. And I think the planning and the zoning board does too. Tim,
So I prepared a couple of resolutions for the board to consider tonight. First one is a requirement that the state is put in place for us to commit to funding a portion of the cost of an equipment, piece of equipment that we're going to be purchasing. That we've gotten a grant from the state for the equipment. What's the equipment?
well, the equipment right now is the great all if,
The great, if,
unless it breaks down before we get the money,
so,
then it'll be something else.
yeah. So it simply commits to creating a line item in next year's budget for $38,000.
Yes.
To pay the balance of the $438,000 that will cost for the great all. 400,000 of which would come from the state of New York, I think from the Senate initiative.
This is a Senate initiative. And the money has been committed. We have to go through all the hoops. So if we can jump through all the hoops, the $400,000 will be ours.
Right. So they just need to, the state of New York needs to know that the town is going to commit $38,000 to get the $400,000 grant.
Because the Grado is more expensive than $400,000. It's actually at this moment, $438,000. So they need to know that we will cover the balance. And so there are several ways we could have done that. And in talking to Tom Chartrand about the ways that we could have done it, the most expedient way for us was to establish a line item and move some of highways unallocated fund balance into there to make sure that we were committed to that purchase, so that that's like it gives them some sort of reassurance that we're going to follow through with having the money to cover the balance.
So when does?
I know
this-
Jill's gonna have a question, I can tell
When does this have to be in?
now.
Okay,
When does what have to be in?
your the
It has
resolution.
to be passed tonight so that we can let the
We can send it
state
in.
know that that we're going to cover the balance of that.
We can't submit our paperwork, which is the next step, until we do this. If we don't do this, they're gonna bounce our paperwork.
So the unallocated funding of 38,000 is in the highway
It's
garage.
highway. And if Tom was here, he would be able to tell you that they had that.
And the budget will be okay.
Yep,
He's proposed a transfer.
he's already
We're-
proposed the transfer
that
from
We're
that.
waiting on.
Yeah. Thank you, Renee.
You
Yeah.
good?
Yep.
Okay. This is, and just so you understand, this is done, it's not like ironclad because I'm going to commit to keeping the money in that budget line.
Mhm.
It's not a reserve. But if the administration changes and somebody wants to give up $400,000 and move that money, then, I'm hoping that this is somehow a commitment that the money will be there when we get the $400,000 that we're being told we're going to get from the state. But it's a process, lengthy, as Tom has explained. In my mind, it's worth it to get the money from the state. So.
Yeah, it's not the state money that I'm
Yeah, I know.
a little wrinkly about. It's the budget with the highway garage and with the transition right now.
Well,
That's my
it's